Welcome back to the Mags on Media Cannes Lions 2014 special, all the way from the south of France. Musician and producer Pharrell Williams adding to his collection of awards at this year's Festival of Creativity by bagging not one but 2 Grand Prix. One in the cyber category for his 24 Hours of Happy music video campaign, and another in the product design category for his collaboration with Dutch jean company G-Star Raw. A campaign called Raw for the Oceans sees a line of denim and fabric made from plastic recycled from the ocean. Someone who didn't have a particularly good time at this year's event was Yahoo chief executive Marissa Mayer, who received a lot of flack for her hard sell of Yahoo products in front of an already tech-savvy audience. On top of that, she was grilled by advertising giant and the chief executive officer of the WPP network, Sir Martin Sorrell, who accused her of not returning his emails. Mayer then became even more unpopular with her own peers when she overslept and arrived 2 hours late for an important dinner with fellow executives. Sorrell's WPP, by the way, was named Holding Company of the Year, with Omnicom and Publicis Group nabbing 2nd and 3rd places respectively. So, what were some of the big trends to emerge at Cannes this year? The perspective now of some South Africans who attended the event.
Are you rolling?
Okay, shall we go?
I like that one.
Some great themes coming out this year. Really, that brands have to be really authentic, that you cannot force a brand into any conversation. It really has to be part of the brand's DNA. Brands must have views, must have point of views, and really must be authentic to be part of a consumer conversation.
Once again, Cannes is an overload of information, but I heard a very lovely quote yesterday from Wendy from Coca-Cola. She said, "Silence is not an option." I think a powerful line, but I think brands that are quiet or brands that don't get noticed. And I think what I've seen here across every presentation is the amount of cross-use of opportunities, cross-use of technology and collaboration between agencies.
Makers, a company that does YouTube content, got sold to Disney for $500 million. That is a big statement of intent. They have millions of viewers, mainly millennials, and brands understand that they got to get in on the action. And it's not about that 5-second advert that gets skipped as soon as you can skip it. It's about integrated, branded content. Can we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more if you guys have time.
Yeah.
One more trend that really has come out is the growth of the mobile device and the fact that people sit like this when they're watching television or when they're viewing things. And it really opens up for a third medium and another dimension. There is a possibility to now target consumers on their mobile while they're watching TV. So you're watching TV and you're talking on your mobile, and you can target the advertisements to be relevant to what's going on in the TV to the person's mobile phone through synchronization.
Distraction marketing. It's all about doing things that have never been done before and using mediums as firsts. And the impossible with technology is now possible. And fortune really favors the brave in this case. Perfect example, British Airways created an interactive billboard that used GPS locations to identify when an airplane of a certain flight is actually flying over that billboard. And it gave that information in real time. And that's just ingenious. Even in South Africa, we created a rainbow, literally created a rainbow to celebrate 20 years with one of the brands. So it's that kind of like totally different type of medium that you'd never expect to do. And that's what gets people talking and tweeting and social mediaing. And that's what brands are after.
Marketers are now orchestrators, and if you don't bring talent together, you won't get the best out of our industry.
While awards are important at a creative festival such as Cannes, it's often the networking opportunities that arise from the week that end up being the most lucrative and long-lasting. The Ipsos Girls Lounge at the upmarket Martinez Hotel on the Croisette provided a unique environment for female executives attending the lines to put their feet up, have a little lunch, and also do a little business with like-minded women from different creative industries. Shelley Zalis, Chief Executive Officer of the Ipsos Open Thinking Exchange. This is what you say. There is power in conversation. We're seeing firsthand how really good ideas come about when women get together. What's the thinking?
You know, it's sort of that wisdom of the crowd thinking that the more you have conversation, the smarter your ideas get because you ladder them up. But when you're talking to just a bunch of amazing women, because we're good talkers, we can talk the talk, but we also make things happen. You know, women love to activate change. What
benefit is this bringing to the brand communications industry in Cannes? Because I would suggest to you that women in this particular business are maybe a little bit different, a little bit more cynical, a little bit more driven perhaps. I don't know.
We're taught to be that way, or our behavior has been groomed by the nature of just how business works today. But there's no reason that we have to continue that path. We can change it.
Shelley Zalis, there's a difference in closing the deal, you'll tell me too. Women do it differently.
First of all, we don't do deals. We create relationships. So I think men do deals. It's a very focused experience. They have
There's
something
a starting point, a middle point, and an end point.
And usually it's a starting point and an end point because they don't waste time on the middle. So there's a start and an end, done. Shake hands.
Shake hands, exchange cards, move on.
And by the way, when we're doing business and creating that relationship, which creates trust, and we build it on emotion, we also can get our nails done at the same time. So we can multitask while we're doing deals. More power deals are getting done in here than on a trade floor. I think more than 3,000 women have connected through one of our girls' lounges that have become best friends. When you walk into a room of people you don't know, men in general will push their way forward and network and do the business deal with the card and the handshake and oh, attaboy, attaboy. Women are a little more uncomfortable doing that, and so we'll stand back and watch. But if all of a sudden you see other women that you've met, your comfort level increases, which means your confidence level increases, and you will push forward and go right to that woman, whether you know them well or not, and become very connected.
Having that confidence, that ability not only to believe in yourself, but to believe in the task that you're doing, often that is a shortcoming with many female executives. Why, and how do you overcome it?
When you think about where women are today, it's a real evolution. And we talk about the what's all the time, but not the why. Why are there so few women in leadership roles? Because when we start out in business, it's a 50-50 split. It's equal men, women. But as we get higher and higher in the ranks, we get more and more responsibility. And of course, our lives are evolving. We become caregivers. We start having families, we start having children. And so what happens at the senior levels, we opt out because we either can't do it all, or we have this need for perfection, or our definition of perfection. So we either opt out for roles that we could manage, or we opt out altogether, or we start our own companies to create our own new rules. And it's becoming a more, an increasing problem, because the best leaders today, let me just define the characteristics of a successful leader today. One who's caring, one who nurtures, one who inspires, one who's passionate, one who wants to bring the best out of everyone. Like a parent, like a caregiver. And it's an oxymoron because the caregivers are the best leaders and yet we're losing them to caregiving. And so we really need to start thinking about how we're going to transform a culture from a culture of rigidity to a culture of generosity, where leaders start bringing a lot of these new ways of balancing for everyone, not for the exceptions, start coming about.
Thank you for unraveling one of the great mysteries. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, there'll always be a new mystery. Don't think that problems will ever be solved, but at least, we're starting a new conversation around it.
Next up on Mags on Media, the Cannes Lions 2014 special, we look at a unique social experiment making use of fine art to gauge consumer interaction.
News that moves. ENCA.com.